Hello to all of you who will watch this either when I post it or if I share it with you, or maybe you've just somehow stumbled upon it, or maybe someone else shared it with you. My name is Kristen Jeffers. I'm an independent distributor with Young Living Essential Oils who wanted nothing to do with the business side of this company. But because of the effects of their products and just falling in love with them, I can't help but share them with people. Like, I can't keep my mouth shut about it. So I wanted to record hopefully a short-ish video about my journey with Young Living and the things that I've seen them do for myself and my family, because I feel like that's important. Like, that's why I share this, because of what I've seen them do. So I am 27. My husband and I got married when I was 23. He was 29. That was May of 2016, so a little over 4 years ago. And he was healthy and fit, and I was what I considered healthy. I really didn't think I had health issues. I struggled some with some digestive things growing up as a kid. I had food allergies, and I dealt with migraines like as a young teen through and up through high school. Pretty much thought I had them under control when I got into college, and kind of started to struggle with them a little bit more so the year before I got married, when my husband and I were dating and I was working as a secretary in the church where he grew up, and that's how we met. But just didn't think about it. I just figured, I've had these since I was a kid. They're just kind of coming back, like whatever. I know what pill to pop and I should be okay. So went on, didn't really think a whole lot about that. 4 months after we got married, I ended up in urgent care with a very scary migraine. I was tremoring and shaking uncontrollably. I got to the point where my vision was just so strange, I can't even describe it to you. I was throwing up, which always came with migraines for me, but just like could not control it. So I started out at the urgent care. They did what they could do for me. Then they sent me by ambulance to the hospital to the emergency room. They didn't know a lot about what was going on either. They gave me 4 different drugs intravenously, yeah, something like that, through an IV. And that didn't do a whole lot for me either. It did kind of calm the migraine itself, and the tremors would stop and then they would return, and they would stop and they return. And the ER doctor finally said, I don't know why that's happening. I don't know how to make them stop. I don't know why they're coming back, but I think she's going to be okay. And I'm just going to send you home. So that was like 6 hours later that I finally ended up going home. They sent me home with a prescription of one of the things that they had given me in my IV, which it was helpful. It did kind of help with the migraine. It was also a nausea medicine, so like I wasn't throwing up everywhere, which was nice. So I thought, okay, maybe this is like my ticket out of this. Like, it was just weird because I couldn't figure out why the migraines had come back, because I hadn't changed anything, like that nothing was jumping off the page. Like, okay, this has really changed in my life, like recently. So I just kind of went on with it and was like, okay, like I'll deal with it. But I kept getting them. They would start to come up, and then I'd pop the pill, and it would deal with it. I'd kind of live with it, go through it, whatever, take me a couple days to recover. It would pop up again. So that was happening. And in between all that and during that, I was having a whole lot of other problems. I was constantly dizzy. I had no energy. I couldn't balance my body temperature. It was just really weird things. My skin was having all sorts of issues, like my hands. Just things I did not understand, that the only thing that I could like come back to and say, this is probably the cause is the migraine. I'm like, this all has to be stemming from the migraine. I don't understand. And I like hated science in school, so to try to figure out where all that was coming from was definitely not up my alley. But it just got to the point where it was like, okay, I had to start asking questions and I had to start looking into things because I wasn't getting answers. Even I mean, like, I went and got a physical. I went and talked to a doctor, and he just wanted to put me on like mind drugs. Like, he was like, I think you're just over emotional about it. And I was like, whoa, I think we've I think we've jumped track here. Like, I've not lost my mind. I'm having migraines, and I'm, yes, struggling emotionally because I am so physically sick, but like, this is not all in my head. So that just made me uncomfortable, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go somewhere else, because we do have that freedom to like go to a different doctor, and I'm thankful for that. And I don't think this doctor was trying to be negative or push things on me. It just, I wasn't comfortable with it, so I left and said no, thank you. But otherwise, he was like, you have a clean bill of health, and I was like, well, this is a problem because something is wrong, and I don't know what. So that was like January, which was, it happened in August, January, about 5 months, 4 months, 5 months, something like that. And I was in pain a lot as well, not just like migraine pain, but muscle pain, and many, many different things. Just struggling to keep up with cooking and cleaning, and literally would spend days at a time in bed, maybe make it out to the couch. I was missing church a lot, which I hated doing, because I love getting to go to my church. And I have played piano since I started taking lessons just before I turned 6. And I had to stop playing because my vision was still so messed up. If I looked at the music and tried to read it, I would instantly get a headache. And if I tried to push through it, then it got worse, and sometimes would spiral into the point where I would have to start like taking my meds to keep from having a migraine. So, and I couldn't like read any books or anything like that either. I would have the same kind of issue, and I love to read. So that was really hard. And that persisted for at least a year. It was definitely a year or more before I even got back to being able to read a book or play anything on the piano. And I hated that because I loved to just play piano for fun, but I was also doing it in our church for like accompanying people when they sing, and just playing for the regular singing in church. And it really, really was hard for me to not be able to do that. And so I kept looking for answers, not really sure where to turn. So our pastor's daughter had struggled with migraines a lot as well. And he recommended an upper cervical chiropractor, and we started going to him, which it took a few months for them to convince me to do this because I was tired of throwing money at things that wasn't working. And I was starting to feel really guilty that we were spending so much money on me, doctor's bills and medication and all sorts of things. And I was feeling very guilty that as a newlywed, I was like costing my husband this much money, and that is by no means how he was looking at it, but that's just how I felt about it. And I was just tired of pouring money into me. And my husband said, no, this is something we need to try. Many people had said, yes, we've gone to this doctor. He is amazing. Or chiropractor, I should say, who is a doctor, but specifically in the field of chiropractic. So we finally went when my pastor finally looked at me and said, Kristen, the question is, why won't you do this? Like, basically, what's it gonna hurt if you try it? And that I needed to hear that. So we went, and that was February of 2017. Yes, 2017. The end of February, and I have been migraine free since we started going to him, and it's been incredible. So it's been like 3.5 years to date since I have had a migraine, which blows me away and has changed my life. But even after the migraine stopped, I was still having a lot of other issues. And somewhere between going to the doctor who made me uncomfortable and starting with the chiropractor, I ended up in urgent care because I had a cold and my immune system was shot. Just terribly shot. It was, I don't know, I had overtaxed it or something. But I was sick like every other week through the winter the year before, and it was happening that way again this year, or that particular year. And so I was at urgent care, ended up seeing a female doctor that day, and she's like, "Why are you here?" I'm like, "I'm sick. I'm tired of being sick. Can we do something about this, like, before it turns into something worse?" And then we just got to talking about some of the other things that I had been dealing with. And she said, "Well, has anyone mentioned that your migraines could be tied to the birth control that you're taking?" And I just kind of looked at her and I was like, "No." And she's like, "Yeah." She said the typical birth control pill, the way it works with your hormones, can it could be what's causing it. So I stopped taking it, and sure enough, those things started to go away in conjunction with going to the chiropractor. So I was like, okay, now what? Because I was still having some of the other side effect issues. But as I dug into things and learned more things, it all came back to those birth control pills. My hormones were so out of balance and in such an unnatural place that it was causing the migraines to come back and be much worse than I had ever experienced, which they had told me when I first started taking it, that it could cause migraines with auras and that sort of thing. But my migraines never had that. And so I never made that connection because I really didn't remember that until she said this. And I was like, oh, but I didn't realize like why the birth control could do that until I started getting into learning other things and getting into other things. And then I was like, wow, like no one explained to me why the birth control could do that or why my hormone balance was so important. And I wish that's something that they would talk about more, because it really is important and it can really mess you up. So I stopped taking it. I started using essential oils through Young Living to help balance those things out. In November of 2017, a young couple started coming to our church, and she was what I called one of those people. She was like, eat well, use oils, clean with chemical-free products, like just that hippy-dippy kind of thing. Like, not for me, but if that's your thing, that's fine. So, yeah, I came back to, I don't want to say regret that view, but my view got changed, and she and I became like best friends. So I got to know her more, and as she just genuinely shared things on Facebook, and as we talked, she ended up saying, okay, like she offered to let me try some things, and I said, okay, like can't hurt me to try. So she let me try some things, and I was like, okay, I think this is kind of helping, like not totally sure, but I think it's helping. And she shared some resources and things with me, and I was like, okay, I'm not like sure if I want to do this or not. And my husband finally was like, okay, I think you should do it. And I was like, but the money. And he's like, just try it. He's like, it's only $160. Just try it. He's like, if it works, great. And if not, they smell good. And it was $160. I was like, okay, if you think like that's okay. So our kit showed up. We started to use the oils, not really knowing what we were doing, but just learning things from things Allie was posting and was telling us, and she plugged us into our Uplines team page with all sorts of education, and I just jumped in. Like, as I started to see these oils do things for me, it motivated me to jump in and learn more about how my body works and why the oils were interacting with my body in certain ways. And then shortly after we got the oils, I said, okay, I really think we need to ditch all the chemicals in our house because those can affect my hormones. They can also, cause other health issues. They can tear down my respiratory system. My husband struggles with respiratory things. I'm like, they can, this could be bad for you. We knew we wanted children at some point, and I was like, if we make these changes now, our child never has to deal with this, like in our home. We have pets. This is safe for pets. I was like, let's just do it. So we hopped on Young Living's loyalty program called Essential Rewards, which is a customizable box every month that comes to your door. You choose what you want in it. You choose when it comes to you in the month, and you get different free products every month depending on how much you put in your wellness box. You get a percentage back. You start earning 10% back. So I was like, what can it hurt to try this? It's free to join. It's free to cancel. So cool. We'll get some free things along the way. So we started switching out our cleaning products. We also then started to switch out our personal care. I switched out all my makeup for Young Living's makeup line, just trying to get the purest things I could into my house and off of my body. Our skin is our biggest organ, which is one of the biggest things I learned as we got into this. So whatever goes in our skin should be safe enough to go like in our mouth. Because if it's on your skin, it's going to get into your bloodstream and your body anyway. So all these things I started learning, and it all started to make sense for me. And I was like, I wish I had known this earlier. I wish someone would have told me this earlier. I wish it was something that we just learned growing up, and it's just not typical American culture, I guess. So as I began to switch those things out, things also began to steadily improve. We're using the oils, getting rid of chemicals and things. I'm still going to the chiropractor. Like, I still go to him this day. We were there like a week ago. My son goes to him now, which, I mean, my son's a year old, but chiropractic is super important for keeping your spine aligned and nerves working, and that's a totally different thing. But it's all been a huge part of improving my wellness. And then, like, we eat as healthy as we can. We don't do a lot of sugar. We're not like strict organic food, but as like healthy as we can. Not a lot of sugar, not a lot of junk food, not a lot of fast food. I mean, yes, we do go out to eat Burger King, now and then. So, and I love French fries. So yeah, I do eat those every now and again. It's not about being perfect, but it is about like making the changes that we needed to make for me to be healthy. So we got our oils, we ditched out the chemicals, and then I started learning things about the hormones, and what kind of brought us to that point in a big way. Like, my migraines were gone. I had gotten rid of most of the crazy side effects. I was actually feeling normal and, like, could be productive around the house and just in life in general. And I had gotten back to playing piano in church, and it was thrilling. So then we decided that we wanted to have a baby, and we started trying, and we weren't getting anywhere, and we weren't getting anywhere, and we weren't getting anywhere. And so I had done some general research, and, it said if you're, a young married couple in common, productive years of life, and you don't get pregnant within a year, you need to go see an OBGYN, like if you're a female. And I said, okay. So I scheduled an appointment, and my husband came with me because I wanted him to hear whatever she had to say. And I do have a family history of endometriosis. I strongly believe I have it. No doctor will diagnose me with it without surgically going in to find out if I have it. And I just don't think that's a wise thing for me personally. So I have not been officially diagnosed, but it runs in the family. It's a generational thing. My sister also has it. So yeah, I've got it. Not as bad as some, but I've got it. So that can also play a part in messing with fertility. But what we found was my hormones were still not balanced to the point where conceiving a baby was going to be easy. So the OB/GYN that we talked to, she wanted me to come in for this test and this thing and that thing. And then if those like 4 different things that she had spouted off didn't work, then she wanted me to come in and like get surgery for the endometriosis, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, okay, I'm not really comfortable with that. Like, I'm not anti-doctor, but I just didn't want to go that route. And she also said, you need to start taking a prenatal vitamin that contains folic acid if you're looking to get pregnant. And I was like, okay. So I came home and I searched Young Living's website for something that contained folic acid, and I couldn't find it. And I was like, that's odd, because if this is something my body really needs, I'm convinced that Young Living, as dedicated as they are to getting us products that are good for us, would have it. So I started asking some more questions. I asked Allie, who signed me up, I was like, why doesn't Young Living have something like this? Like, is this not a natural thing? And like, there's a natural version of it. Like, why am I not finding it? And so we started talking, and Allie's mom actually happened to be with us when we were having this conversation. She said, folic acid is a synthetic. Folate is the natural, like actual real thing. I said, oh, I saw a lot of supplements with that in it. So I started taking Young Living's supplement Super B because it has all the B vitamins, which are fantastic for you, including folate. So I immediately ordered that like the next month on our Essential Rewards order, and got that and started taking it consistently. And then started talking to some of the other girls in our team who had been in Young Living longer and knew many, many things. And one of the girls said, you need to search for this particular protocol. I think maybe this would help you. And I said, okay. So I looked into it, and I talked to my husband about it, and I was like, okay, these are the oils that it says to use. This is how it says to use them. This is something I'm willing to try. I'd rather go this route than invasive, things. So, and if that's a route that someone has chosen and it's worked for them, that's wonderful. It's just not where I felt I needed to go. So I looked these things up. We ordered them. I started using them. And with like the next month, we were pregnant. So that was October of 2017 that we found out we were pregnant, and October of 2018, not 17, 18, because that wouldn't line up right. But we were shocked. We were ecstatic. So I have a whole nother video that talks about the protocol that I used, obviously in conjunction with eating healthy and ditching those chemicals, all the things. But I love getting to say that we beat infertility. We did. I know some people question, like, were you really infertile? But we took over a year, and that is to get pregnant, and that is what they define as infertility. So if you want to cut hairs about it, that's fine. We struggled to get pregnant for a long time. And then we did. And we didn't need any unnatural intervention. My body just needed support and to be promoted in certain areas. And so we tried that first, and that's what the Lord allowed to work for me. So we have a 1-year-old son. His name is James. He is the sweetest, most chill, cuddly, happy baby that I have ever met. And we love him so, so much. We've seen oils do a lot of other amazing things for my mom, who struggles with fibromyalgia and anxiety, for my husband, who struggled with bronchitis and respiratory things, and he still does deal with respiratory things. I'm not saying that like we are healed and perfect, but when these things flare up, we know what to grab to support our bodies and promote our wellness. And it's an amazing feeling, and that's why when I started sharing essential oils, my team name is Empowered Oilers, because you have that sense of being empowered. You don't have to feel helpless and lost like I did for so long with so many of my things. So that is the condensed version of my story, told in about 24 minutes here. So I do share this with others. I love to teach on it, to share what I have learned so that others have a resource. We have found many resources that I go to learn things that we love sharing with our team. I have a Facebook group for anyone who signs up with me, where every day I'm posting something about how to use an oil. Usually each month has a theme to it for our education. Right now we're going through like emotions and essential oils, which has been a huge deal for me lately. So it's something I've been learning, and When you get your kit with me, you get a welcome package of diffuser recipes that you can use with your starter kit, roller blends that you can apply topically to help promote your wellness with your oils that are already in your kit. Just things to train you to use them. I give you a guide for like helping set up some of your essential rewards orders if that's something that you choose to join, to help you like ditch and switch your products and that sort of thing. Anything I can do to help my team improve their health and learn how to get the best benefits from Young Living's products. We have like 700 plus products that range from makeup to oils to personal care to baby line, which we use on our son all the time, to oils specifically diluted and made for kids, which we use on him, pet things, which we use on our dogs. There's no shortage of things that Young Living has. Like one of my favorite things is their natural energy drink. It's called Zing. Every mommy needs it. This mommy needs it. So I just love getting to share those things and teach others how to confidently take control of their own health and be empowered. So if that's something that you want to know more about, if you feel like this is something you've been looking for, shoot me a message. You can contact me through Facebook, through Instagram, through my email address, wherever you found this. My contact information will be connected to it. If you happen to use my link that's connected to this and we don't talk first, I will be sending you an email saying, hey, nice to have you, get your information, send you your welcome kit. And I look forward to getting to know all of you as we start to walk this oily journey together.